Hey teachers, on this episode of the TISHA Podcast, I'm joined by an amazing special education teacher, and we'll be talking about how to support students in the absence of special education teachers. Stay tuned. Hello, amazing teachers. Welcome to another episode of the TISHA Podcast, where we talk about everything learning support for children with additional needs. I'm your host, Farouk Hassan. If you're just joining us for the first time, please go ahead and tap on the subscribe button so you can get or be the first to get notifications whenever we drop new episodes. So today is another beautiful midweek morning. In fact, I should be having some hot drink by my side, but the way this weather is, it's a bit confusing. Today is cold, tomorrow is hot, and all of that. And I've had the chance to tell people about the serious global warming crisis in our hands, but most people are not concerned. But anyway, that's just by the way. Today's episode is about an issue most general education teachers face: supporting students who show signs of struggle but aren't receiving formal special education support. So in other words, supporting students in the absence of special education professionals. I know for a fact that this can be very, very overwhelming. Having to juggle between diverse needs, limited resources, and perhaps even a sense of isolation. But fear not, people, we are in this together. So on today's episode, I am happy to be joined by Salome Dilla, a fantastic special education teacher with extensive experience supporting struggling students in general education settings. She's the visionary leader and founder of Payday Educational Consult, an advocate, an ally, and my pal. So ladies and gentlemen, I give you the SEN Queen, Auntie Salome. So, and Salome, welcome to the TISHA Podcast.
Thank you very much, Uncle Farouk. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I didn't see that SEN coming.
You know you are the SEN Queen, so let's give you your flowers. You are the SEN
Queen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go straight to this. What are some misconceptions you encounter about the role of special education teachers? Now, I'm asking you this question because our previous episode, I talked about how general education teachers see special education teachers as teaching assistants. So I'm asking you this first. Let me hear from you. What are some misconceptions you encounter about this role of being a special education teacher?
Okay. Just like you said, one of the major misconception is the special education teacher being seen as a class assistant.
Yes.
That has made me fight a lot with a lot of general educators. Yes. We are being seen as the class assistants. In fact, I've had a conversation where I reached out to someone about a particular thing I wanted to work on, and then the person said, please, I think you need to do this because most special needs teachers do not do anything. They only sit on their phones and do nothing. And then I'm like, it's not possible because I know that we are out there and we do a lot of work. So I've also had a problem at my place of work where a teacher will just teach a particular, mainly math. She's a math teacher, so she just teaches a concept, and then she decides to just leave it to the SEN teachers and be like, SEN teachers, over to you, please. Please describe to or explain further to your client. So that has been one of the major misconceptions Then a lot of times people see special education teachers as people who just work on the one size fits all strategy
I
or one
see.
size fits all
Why do you
approach.
think why do you think they see it that way?
I think because they do not have an appropriate knowledge on how it works.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
because most of these general education teachers do not even know that every child under the special needs education has to have an educational plan.
Yes. That's the
So
IEP.
I can have 3 or 4 children in one class, but they are not learning the same thing.
Yes,
I
that's
have to
true.
have an individualized educational plan for all of them. So that's to say, I
Mm.
have to use different approaches, different techniques, different strategies just to make these children learn. But they don't see it like that. They see as if it's like the general um education approach, but it's not like that, because I feel the general education approach has the one size fits all strategy rather
Yeah.
than the special education approach, because I would sit down and create a lesson plan as a general educator, and then this is how I want to execute my plan, and then I would
Mm.
put it out and then deliver. But it doesn't work that way with special needs teachers. You have to come, find out if the child is a an auditory learner, a tactile learner, and a visual learner, and the likes of it. Then look for other approaches, other techniques. Now, if I try this way, it doesn't work. I have to come up with another strategy so that that child is able to learn. So it's not
Yes.
a one size fits all. So most
Yeah.
people out there should stop thinking special education is a one size fits all. And also, special education teachers do not do anything. Instead, they work like the regular, like the general education teachers. It doesn't work that way.
Now, talking about that particular teacher that said special education teachers just sit around doing nothing, do you think that's from her own experience with some special education teachers in her own school, or that's just a bias that she has for special education teachers?
Well, I got to understand that it's a bias from our own
I
perspective.
see.
But along the line, when I carried out the other research, I got to understand that that is what most people think about special education teachers, most general educators. In fact, I have one currently at my place of work. In fact, okay, it happened like 2 days ago. That was like Monday, and then she called one of my younger colleagues and was like, please, is this teacher who is shadowing this boy in her office, or is she doing something? Because she had complained she wasn't feeling too well. And then she had worked with the child as she was supposed to, but she
Okay.
dropped the child. And then because it's CA week, so she
Yeah.
just went to check on other children that she was working on. But because that one didn't feel as if she was working, it became an issue.
Hmm.
So I feel it's the way others also sense it. It's the way others feel that that's how special education teachers work.
Okay, that's it. Now we've been talking about general education teachers that have special education teachers in their school. Now let's talk about those general education teachers that do not even have anything closely related to special education units. Now let's talk about common challenges that they can face, especially when it comes to working with students who may have learning difficulties but haven't been identified for special needs support. What are these challenges and what can general education teachers do about it?
Most general education teachers face classroom management as a challenge. Yes. Mainly if you have children who have behavioral challenges. So
Okay.
teaching might be a struggle for them because they do not know how to address these children now. They don't know how to, the approaches, the techniques they
Mm,
can use to
mm,
help these children learn. Let's say you have 2 children who have ADHD in your class,
mm.
and then every 5 minutes they are up and doing, and they are all over the place. As a general
Okay.
educator, you might end up being frustrated because you
That is
would
very
lack
true. That's true.
classroom management.
Yeah, yeah.
So teachers struggle with addressing behavioral challenges most of the time. And then because of the lack of awareness, even if the child has been identified, meeting the child's needs now is also another issue because the child hasn't been placed under special education itself. So you as a general educator, there is no way you can help that child because you do not have a knowledge. So that is a challenge. Lack of knowledge is a challenge. Then one other thing I personally feel that general educators face is the lack of support from school leaders and parents' denial.
Thank you. I wanted us to also talk about that. So what do you think they can do about that?
Well, for lack of support for school leaders, I would advise that school leaders should listen. You know, most times when we take complaints or when general educators take complaints to the school leaders, it will be more like, oh, this teacher loves to complain, this teacher is lazy, this teacher is this. There's always one excuse or the other.
Yeah.
And then when you now put out and say, okay, I think we need to reach out to this parent, it now boils down to the parents now having that parental denial. I've had a child who came in for normal school inquiry, and then the moment the school management saw that child, they knew that the child was struggling. So they had reached out to the mom and told the mom that I think this child should be assessed. The mom said no, that there's nothing, that there's nothing wrong with her child. And we said fine, we admitted the child. And then I personally took it upon myself and I assessed the child just from just one or two things, because most times when the child is having a little behavior challenges, they send the child to my office. So just from my little interaction, yes, as the same queen that I am. So from my little interaction with the child, I got to understand that yes, this child has a challenge, but I cannot tag the child because it's not in my place.
Yes.
I don't have the right because the parents have not given me the right to do so.
Yes. So not giving consent. Yes.
Yes. So what I just do is from time to time, I just pull him out of the class and just help. Because sometimes as special needs educators, when you work in a school setting, you don't even know when you reach out to other children who are struggling but have not been placed. Yes.
Now let's talk about lack of resources. What advice will you give to general education teachers who feel they lack the resources or expertise to support these struggling students, since there's no special education support in their schools?
Sometimes it's the zeal to want to help. First and foremost, have the interest.
True, interest.
Have the interest to want to help a struggling learner. If you are really a teacher at heart, you wouldn't want to see a child struggling.
Oh, I like that.
It might be a bit stressful, but at the end of the day, you will find that joy when you're able to achieve something. So in situations whereby there is no special education teacher in a school, I would advise they try to collaborate. They ask for collaboration, because I might not know, but you might know how to address it. You might have worked with a child who is a struggling learner, and then you might want to share how you did it. So engaging with colleagues, finding peer collaboration, ask them. They will be ready to help. That is one. Number two, once you have that interest, you will be eager to go for professional development, such as workshops, webinars, summits, things that are focused on differentiated instruction, classroom management, and student support. Then we have one currently that is all over the place, which is online resources. You can as well just go on Google. Sometimes Google can lie though. I always tell people not to always trust Google. But
that
you
is
can
true.
go
That's
on
true.
YouTube. We have ChatGPT. It will help. It might not give you everything completely, but at least it will give you an insight. It will give you something you can work with.
Hmm.
So we have books. A
Yeah.
lot of us don't
Yeah.
like reading books though, but I would recommend a few. I
Okay.
know of The Differentiated Classroom by Carol and
The
Tomlinson.
differentiated classroom.
The Differentiated Classroom by Carol and Tomlinson.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
the book emphasizes on the importance of differentiation in the classroom, just to meet the diverse learning needs of students. It provides
Hmm.
practical strategies and techniques to help general education teachers.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Please give us more resources on this. Give us more resources.
Okay. Then that particular book also helps you alter instructions to
Okay.
meet the individual's that's the student's interest, the student's learning profile, and then the student's readiness. So like in special education, what we always say is let the child lead.
Hmm.
So the book will help you on strategies on how to do that. Then the second book I would recommend is Teach Like a Champion
Teach
by
like a
Dongle.
champion.
Yes, Teach Like a Champion by Don Lemove.
Okay.
Yes. Um, it's also a practical approach. It emphasizes on practical approach to effective teaching practicals. It
Okay.
offers specific learning techniques and methods for
Okay.
engaging a child that is struggling, and it helps you
Okay.
manage the classroom. And the technique also is also high impact,
Okay.
so you can
Okay.
implement it anywhere. Yes,
Awesome.
I think
Awesome.
for parents who are teachers, they can also help implement it on their own children as well.
Oh, that's nice. That is really nice. Can we get hard copies and PDF of the books as well?
I got it from a friend, but I will try and ask
That
you.
is fine. I'm sure our listeners can also do their due diligence and see if they can get PDF copies in online bookshops as well. This is awesome. I wanted
Yes,
to ask you about resources, but I'm grateful you've given us that opportunity to dish out two fantastic books for us
I
to
also
to
have
to, to
one more resources that I found out of recent.
Oh, amazing. Please give it
I
to
read a
us.
book. I read a book, and then it recommended that, and it's so fortunate that that is what we are on now. Podcasts.
Wow, wow,
Yes,
wow.
podcast is one of the easiest resources you can find, because
Amazing.
you can be it's one tool for multitasking. You can be
Hmm,
doing a lot of things while listening to podcasts. And then
that is true.
imagine you go on either Spotify or Google Podcast, and then you
Yes,
subscribe to topics of your interest, depending on what took you there. If it's to help a child that
yes,
is struggling, you will find yourself learning a lot. You might become an expert in that field. I have learned a lot
incredible.
between the time I read the book that's recommended podcast to now.
Yes.
I listen to
Wow.
I even schedule podcasts for every day. And podcasts are not really long, between 20 to
Yes.
30 minutes.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
one good resources that I feel everybody who has the interest of their students and themselves
Hmm.
at heart
Hmm.
should work with.
Wow. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. That was incredibly insightful. Thank you so much. Now, tell us about your upcoming webinar about this same topic of the episode. What would you be sharing with the participants, and how do we participate in these webinars?
Okay, the webinar is on supporting individuals with or struggling learners. Yeah, let me put it that way.
Yes.
In the
Yes.
absence of a special needs professional. It's a 3 days webinar. I had to split it into 3 days. So it's going to be for 1 hour each
Okay.
day. I want it to be quite insightful. I want it to be
Yes. And
I don't want
interactive
you
and
to
engaging.
just come there for the certificate and then just
True.
leave. It's free. It's free.
Oh,
I get
wow.
to teach you strategies on how to work with children with dyslexia, children with ADHD, children with autism, and children with dysgraphia and behavioral issues. That's like a bonus bonus. I'm breaking it down like that. I just don't want to say, okay, struggling learners, you can do this, you can do the battery settings, you can do the positive and negative, that's the battery setting settings, you can do that, you can break tasks. No, I want us to take it bit by bit. So
I agree.
that's how it's going to be.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I forgot to mention I have this special education skills course
Exactly.
for
Yes.
school
Thank you. Please go
leaders.
ahead. Yes.
Yes, it's going to teach us on how we can accept children with special needs, how we can work with them, and how we can, as school leaders, monitor how the special education needs teachers work with these children. Because in most cases, you find them just letting the special education teachers just work and not know what is going on. I've had to work with like 3 children that only listen to me and nobody else.
Wow.
Despite the fact that I try to make every other person around me become firm so that those children can also listen to them and do what they are supposed to do. But those children just believe that I'm here for only Miss Salome and that's all. So I get to share strategies on how to do that and lots more. So anticipate releasing the course in March. It should come in March, my birthday. So fingers crossed. I'm working on that. Yes. And it's going to be discounted as well.
Nice. Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Nice. Thank
Because
you so
that
much. So
cost
please,
should be worth like 150,000, but
and then
of course,
you're putting it as at a discount for teachers. That is amazing.
yes,
That
yes,
is truly amazing. Please
yeah.
go ahead and share your social media handles.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram as Salome Dilla or at the Eduventionist, the educational interventionist, but cluttered together, the Eduventionist, the underscore Eduventionist. Then you can find me on Facebook as Salome Dilla and as well on LinkedIn as Salome from Adila. That's my full name. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Salome Dilla, for gracing us with your presence and, of course, sharing your expertise with us on the TISHA podcast. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Uncle Farouk.
Thank you so much. All right, TISHAs, that's it for today's episode of the TISHA podcast. Share your thoughts and experiences in regards to supporting struggling students in the absence of special education professionals. How did you do it? What went well? And also, if you got any questions about today's episode, you can also share your voice notes with us in the link within the description of podcast. I would love to hear from you. Also, remember, supporting struggling students isn't about having all the answers, but with the right strategies, collaboration, and of course a positive mindset, you can create a classroom where all your learners will thrive. All right, thank you so much. Talk to you soon. To your success and that of